New Righteousness and Peace Commercial and Industrial Guild, better known as the San Yin On, is one of the leading tribes in Hong Kong and mainland China. The identity of the lead has always been a mystery. The public has suspected possible figures who work in the days as owners of movie production companies, investment organizations, and hotels. One of the most famous tales is the mysterious Richard Han. However, it is almost impossible to have a look under his waters. The only possible approach is to know it from his wife, Miss Anne. It was difficult to get in contact with Miss Anne since she is under protection 24/7. Miss Anne was also aware of the situation, but to our surprise, she wanted to tell us her story, knowing the dangers of doing so.
I wanted to tell the truth. I don't think his real identity is a secret anymore, but I want the public to know how horrifying it is to live with him, and what a liar he is.
But Miss Anne wasn't unfamiliar with the situation of being in the tribe. Her first husband, Edward Chen, was an important member of the gang Shui Fang. He was shot dead 2 years ago outside of a hotel in Macau. It was suspected that the sniper was hired by Richard Han.
I was perfectly aware of the fact that Edward was killed by Richard. The police might not be absolutely sure about it, but everyone in the tribe knew. I hated him to the guts. Trust me, if there was any chance, I would have had him killed.
Not long after Edward's death, Anne's father, Henry Lee, was killed during a fight between Sang Yin On and Shui Fang, which he was part of with Edward. So it was a shock to the tribe that shortly after the funeral of Henry, Anne was engaged to Richard Han, who was suspected to have killed both of her loved ones. So why did she marry Richard if she had such hatred towards him? What happened that made Miss Anne change her mind?
I don't know what I was thinking either. At the funeral, I was emotionally vulnerable. When Richard came to me, I was so angry that I spit on him and asked him to go away. But then he grabbed me by my arm and forced me to listen to his nonsense. He was saying how Edward was using me and was planning to kill me for his own advantage. What a ridiculous reason. And the foolish me actually believed him. He said he was secretly in love with me, and he loved me so much that he had to kill Edward in order to protect me from harm. That was the most absurd lie, but I listened. I knew I should hate him for what he did, so I asked him to leave me alone.
So he left?
No. If he did, I wouldn't end up here. He stood there and pulled out a gun. At first I thought he was going to kill me too, but before I could react, he stuffed the gun into my hand. He went down on one knee and pressed the gun against his chest. "Kill me," he said, "if you hate me so much." It was at the end of the funeral, and most people had left. He looked me into my eyes and started saying how much he loved me and he had to do whatever it took to protect me. He sounded so sincere, and the reason seemed so convincing at the moment. My finger was on the trigger, and I looked at the man who I hated, but I just couldn't do it. I thought, what if he is right? What if he does love me? So I dropped the gun on the floor and helped him up. I was confused by the words he said, and I didn't know what to think. And in a way, I just don't want to think about it. So when he put a ring onto my finger, I didn't refuse him. And that is probably the biggest mistake I've ever made.
Shortly after the funeral, Miss Anne married Richard Han. After their wedding, Anne was seen frequently at Lam Han Place, Times Square, Queens Road Central, and other luxury shops. However, the couple has never been seen together except for formal occasions. Can I ask, how is your marriage life so far?
I'm not going to lie. It had been miserable. His attitude changed completely after the wedding, and we rarely talk at home. He doesn't even want to look at me. Yes, he supported me financially, but the last thing he needed to worry about was money. I felt like he paid me off and I'm just another house that he bought to show off.
So did he ever hurt you?
Not very often. He doesn't even bother to touch me. But now you mentioned it, he does move a lot in his sleep. Almost every night he moved his arm or his leg and it would hit me when he dreams. He hardly ever has a sound night of sleep, and so I haven't I. He is always screaming people's names when dreaming. His body would be cold like a dead body.
Why do you think is that?
Isn't that obvious? Evil is rewarded with evil. They wouldn't leave him alone in dreams, all those people that he cleaned off.
Would you ever consider planning a divorce, maybe?
Obviously, I want to, but we all know the consequence. But who can I blame? I got myself into this. Now when I think about it, maybe my insomnia is a punishment for being blinded by his honey words.
So rumors has been around that Mr. Han has been seeing another woman called Elizabeth.
Sorry, I can't do this.
So it seemed Mr. Richard Chan and Anne's marriage is falling apart. The interview ended in a hurry, and for the following 2 weeks, we lost contact with Miss Anne. On July the 28th, to everyone's surprise, Richard Han married Miss Elizabeth. When Richard was asked about Miss Anne, he had tears in his eyes and stated that Anne was deadly ill in the hospital, and it was her wish that he would marry again, even though he still loved Anne. When asked about Anne's condition, Richard Han claimed that he had lung cancer and has been under treatment for months, but sadly it didn't help. However, 2 weeks ago during our interview with Anne, she didn't appear to be going through any cancer treatment. The following day, our staff went to the hospital Anne was treated in, but we refused to visit. The very afternoon, she was announced dead by the hospital. The truth of Anne's life is concealed with her death.